Monday, 10 a.m. That one specific time on the clock wasn't just a time. It became this global trigger, a moment where everything was set to snap. But to really get why, we have to rewind just a little bit to a meeting that was never, ever supposed to fail. So how in the world did we get to a 10 a.m. deadline? Well, it all started behind closed doors. A last-ditch secret effort to pull things back from the brink. We're talking about a super high-stakes negotiation in Islamabad between the US and Iran. This wasn't just another talk. It was supposed to be the world's last real shot at de-escalation. And as you're about to see, it blew up. I mean, spectacularly. To understand what happened, you have to picture the room. 21 straight hours in a secure room in Islamabad. No breaks, no progress. Sources describe an atmosphere with literally zero trust. Nobody's smiling. Every single word carries the weight of a potential war. This wasn't diplomacy anymore. It was a total standoff. And this right here, this is exactly why it all fell apart. It boiled down to red lines that neither side would cross. As you can see, the US was demanding Iran pull back on its nuclear program and its moves in the region. Iran's response? It was absolute. Not just no, but not happening. Not in this lifetime. When you're that far apart, there's just no room for a deal. And then, after those 21 agonizing hours, it all ended with just 4 words. This meeting is over. And just like that, the last glimmer of hope for a peaceful way out, it just died right there in that room. The consequences, as we'll see, were going to be immediate, and they were going to be global. Okay, so the talks are dead. The focus now snaps instantly. While most of the world was still asleep, totally unaware that the talks had failed, Washington was already making its move. And this wasn't some slow, careful political reaction. No. This was a lightning-fast, decisive pivot to military action. And then this drops. This short, sharp post from President Trump was the public signal. No fuzzy diplomatic language here. It was a crystal clear message to the world that the time for talking was done. The United States was now shifting from negotiation to direct action. And that action came down as a direct order to U.S. Central Command, the military folks running the show in the region. And the steps were brutally simple. It was basically a naval blockade. Lock down the Strait of Hormuz, track every single Iranian vessel, and stop anything that looks even remotely suspicious on the spot. No warnings, no delays. This was a move designed for maximum suffocating pressure, and it was happening right now. So, why was that order so incredibly dramatic? Why did it send shockwaves around the world? Well, it all comes down to this one number, 20%. What does that even mean? That number, that's 20% of the entire world's oil supply. All of it flows through this one tiny, narrow waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. People call it the planet's oil highway for a reason. So the key thing to get here is that by putting this choke point under military pressure, the US wasn't just squeezing Iran, it was putting a chokehold on the entire global economy. A disruption here means the price you pay for gas goes up, and it goes up fast, and the world felt that instantly. And the fallout, man, it was immediate, and it went in 2 directions at once. First, you had pure economic panic around the globe. And second, you had an absolutely furious, defiant response from Tehran. This thing was no longer a quiet failure in some back room. It was now a very loud, very public crisis. You can literally see the fear right here on this chart. Global markets just freaked out. Oil prices, boom, they shot through the roof as everyone expected a massive supply disruption. And at the same time, stock markets just took a nosedive as investors scrambled for safety. The economic part of this war had officially begun.
And Iran's response? Whoa. It was anything but subtle. They didn't back down an inch. They doubled down. This quote, coming directly from their military leadership, sent an absolute chill around the world. Tehran was making it crystal clear. Any attempt to control the strait would be met with overwhelming force.
And so practically overnight, the world's most critical shipping lane completely transformed. It was no longer just a trade route. It became a live military chessboard, with US warships on one side and Iranian forces on the other. And they were just staring each other down, neither one looking like they were about to blink. This brings us to the most dangerous phase of this whole crisis. We've moved way beyond politics and economics now. This is a direct military standoff. We are on the razor's edge, where the smallest mistake, the tiniest miscalculation, could have catastrophic consequences for absolutely everyone. And you know, the thing that really kept global leaders up at night wasn't that some president or general would consciously decide to start a war. No, the real fear, the thing that was terrifying, was that it would be triggered by a simple, stupid mistake in this hypertense environment. A misunderstood signal, a fishing boat misidentified as a gunboat, one nervous sailor making one wrong move, and the whole thing could go up in flames. And listen, this wasn't some abstract problem happening halfway across the world. It was already hitting people everywhere, right in the wallet.
Fuel costs were jumping, so the price at the pump started to climb, the cost of flights and shipping anything went up, the insurance rates for cargo ships even trying to go through the region just skyrocketed. This standoff was having very real, very tangible effects on everybody. So of course the question on every news channel, in every government briefing, and honestly on everybody's mind was, is this it? Is this how World War III begins? Not with a massive bang, but just in slow motion? For a few terrifying days, nobody had a clear answer. And that brings us right back to where we started, that deadline. Monday, 10 a.m. The final countdown is on. Warships are in position, radars are lit up, and command rooms all around the world have gone completely silent. This is the moment of truth. Okay, let's just walk through these final heart-stopping minutes. With 10 minutes left, command centers are dead quiet except for the constant pinging of radar. 5 minutes out, those radars are locked on potential targets. And then, with just 60 seconds to go, movement is detected in the strait. Is this it? Is it an attack? Is it a routine patrol? A mistake? For a few seconds, the entire world just holds its breath. And then 10 a.m. hits. And there's silence. Nothing happens. No shots are fired. Because in that final moment, it became crystal clear that this whole confrontation wasn't just about showing strength. It was about the fear of the consequences, the paralyzing fear of being the one to actually pull the trigger on a catastrophic global war. Both sides pushed right to the absolute brink, and neither was willing to be the one to take that final, terrible step. So the immediate crisis was averted, but don't think for a second the tension just vanished. This quote really just nails it. The tension didn't go away. It just settled over the region, becoming this permanent state of unease. It's like a storm that passed by for now, but everybody knows it can gather strength and come back at any moment. The danger is still very, very real. And that leaves us with a critical and frankly unsettling question for the future. We saw what happened this time when fear held both sides back. But what happens next time? What happens when another deadline is set, in another crisis, and one side decides that the cost of blinking is actually worse than the cost of war? That's the thought we're left with.